Hello healers and health seekers, it's me, Ichota, healing multiple chronic illness diagnoses with medical medium information for 3 years and 10 months now, and loving it. If you want to know all the diagnoses, symptoms, and conditions I'm healing from or have healed from, it's all in the description box below. There's a lot. So definitely check that out. However, today it is time for What's Up Wednesday, which is when I come in here, I make a video about my healing journey, my healing progress, where I am in my healing journey, and I share that with you. We live in interesting times. It's the quarantine. I think everybody's quarantined everywhere. I don't know. I know that where I live in general, whether people are required to or not, everybody seems to be practicing the whole physical distancing thing. People seem to be being very careful. I am seeing a lot more people walking around the neighborhood when I go out for walks, when I can go out for walks. That's a whole nother thing. It's frustrating sometimes because when I want to go out for a walk, I'm not able to because somebody will have a barbecue grill going, and barbecue grills are full of things like propane and lighter fluid and what's that called? Butane and charcoal that's often infused with a bunch of chemicals that help it light and start and stay lit and all that stuff. And all of that stuff is super toxic for everybody, but not everybody feels the toxicity immediately like I do. Like, I know it immediately, like, this is not good, this is not good, and my body goes on high alert. My nervous system goes, nope, too much. And what happens is I will get a migraine and I will start to feel very ill, and I don't know what happens beyond that because usually I have gotten out of it at that point. I know that I have before been exposed to barbecues when I was less sensitive, where I got so incredibly sick just from sitting in barbecue smoke, like being somewhere. I think we were at a beach that also had a park, and that park had like those individual barbecue grills that you can cook on, which I'm like, super gross, but people do it and they think it's great, and they were doing it, and I was sitting at one of the picnic tables and just like all day while we were there being exposed to that smoke, and I got so incredibly sick. Anyway, that was a long time ago. I could not do that now. As soon as I smell the smoke, I get out because I know it's toxic to me, but more than that, I know that I will immediately feel the effects and that it will make me sick and I will get migraines, etc., etc. So if I try to go out walking and I smell that barbecue smell, I know, bad news, go back in. So for a couple days, I have not been able to go on walks with my family because at the time that I would go is the time that I guess people decide it's time for cooking. Well, it's time to to fire up the grill, and they fire up the grill and it stinks outside. The whole of outside stinks, and I don't know how that happens. Like how you can just keep walking and just keep smelling it and keep walking and keep smelling it no matter where you go, but it happens. Anyway, chemical sensitivity. But chemical sensitivity that is not the fault of my body, but is the fault of this planet that has overloaded us so much with toxins and chemicals that some of us, our nervous systems are just beyond capacity. Like, I was born with baby liver, which means when I was a baby, when I came into this planet, my liver was already compromised. I had jaundice, and that is the sign of a baby liver. Medical Medium talks about it in Liver Rescue. He has talked about it before in many of the radio shows he does on the liver. So I won't go into it too much here, but that's part of my history, is that I had that. And so I came into this world compromised, and then you get barraged with toxins from the outside. So even if you came in with a pristine liver, this barrage of toxins, like, it gets you at some point. And for me, that point was earlier than I realized, actually. I was gonna say when my health tanked, but no, that was just when I reached full total capacity, my poor liver. But anyway, that's just a little bit of like backstory. And chemical sensitivity is one of those things that medical medium says that even as you heal from everything else, and as you recover so many symptoms and conditions, you'll always be sensitive. It doesn't mean that you won't. It doesn't mean you'll be as sensitive, but you'll always be sensitive. And he says that's a good thing, because we want to know where the toxins are in our environment, and if we can avoid them, we do. We want to have that awareness. We want to know how to keep ourselves as safe as we can on this planet, and that's what I do. I have, however, noticed as I've healed my chemical sensitivity, absolutely my recovery time has gotten much faster, because things that used to take me out for weeks, like being around that barbecue smoke back then, I mean, that's like, forget it. That's weeks after that. Like, I'm not well. And it took me so long to recover from that. Whereas now I can get exposed to something. Now I try not to do this. Like, I avoid this at all costs usually, but if I can't avoid something and I get exposed, I recover very much quicker. Like, sometimes within an hour, I'm back to my normal self. And part of that is having the information from the medical medium, books, radio shows, blog posts, all of that, to support myself, and knowing what foods to eat and what supplements to take and how to help myself bounce back the most quickly. That has been an incredibly valuable tool on my healing journey. My whole healing journey, that has been like, the medical medium books are my Bible of medical scriptures. They are absolutely, like, the series is like all the series of books in the Bible of medical scripture. I refer to all of the books again and again. There's a book coming out in May called Cleanse to Heal, and I'm very excited about that. And if we're all still inside in May, I mean, I don't know how long this is going to go on. So if we're all still inside in May, then I'll have plenty of time to read. Okay, so my healing journey this past week, I have felt very quiet and introspective, and I haven't even really been interacting with social media very much. It's not that I haven't been online, but I've just been sort of watching goofy shows, or I do listen to the medical medium audiobooks. I'm still listening to Liver Rescue again. So that's something I do when I'm doing other tasks. I have been watching my seedlings grow and making little videos of my seedlings growing, and just paying attention to them and doing a lot of crafting. I'm working on this quilt that used to be a comforter, and I just started sewing patches on it, like, as it would rip, because it was getting older. And over time, it just kind of deteriorated. The fabric of it just deteriorated to the point where it became a patchwork quilt. And now I have worked on filling in all of the little spaces with patches, so the whole entire facing of it is patches. And now I am removing basically the comforter itself. Like, I'm removing all the batting from the comforter, and I'm removing the backing, and it's taking a really long time because I'm having to do it piece by piece. It's only a queen size comforter, or full size, something like that. Well, it's not a comforter anymore, it's a quilt now. I'm basically like, not reverse engineering, but I'm kind of reverse engineering this quilt. I guess that's kind of the best word that I can think of to call it, because I'm taking out all the batting, and I took off the backing, and I'm going to replace it with new batting and make it a proper quilt. But what I did in the meanwhile is I did quilt it, because the thread had come apart from, anyway, I did quilt it, which means that I have to take it apart. Like, I have to rip the seams. It's a whole thing, and you're probably like, why are you doing this? But it gives me great joy. I really enjoy it. I'm a Virgo, and I do not mind little detail-oriented things like that, or things that are kind of a little bit tedious. But this part of it is like a particular tedium that it's not super fun, but because now I have this goal in mind for this quilt and what I want to do with it, I'm really excited about it. So I'll do the tedious bits, because I'm like, no, I want to finish this the way I want to finish it, because it used to just be me sewing patches, and then it was like, oh, I have now this thing has needed so many patches that it has just become a patchwork quilt. So why don't I just turn it into a proper quilt? And because I put so much work into it, sewing the patches on, I don't want to just give up on it. So yeah, I'm taking out the old batting, which is all bunchy anyway, and I'm putting in new batting. Anyway, it's funny. It's a funny project because it's like, why don't you just build a quilt from scratch? And I'm like, well, I kind of did, but reverse engineering it. It's weird, but it's fun. I enjoy it. I taught myself to macrame, and I still haven't done any micro macrame. I did start to do a couple of micro macrame projects, and I needed a different size thread, so I ordered that thread. But while I was waiting for that thread to come, my mother-in-law was like, oh, do you think you could macrame this plant hanger? And I was like, I will try. So she sent me, I said, pick out one on Pinterest that you like. And she did, and I did it, and I made it, and I was so proud of it. It looked really good. And she put the spider plant in it, and it looks really nice. So yeah, I made that plant hanger. I will definitely do more of those. I really liked working with the rope. It's not huge rope, but it's 3mm cotton rope, and it's so soft and it feels really good. And I'm like, this is really therapeutic, just tying these knots and I'm like, okay, this is something I'm gonna enjoy doing. I like macrame. I like things with like knots and beads and thread and sewing and like repetitive, which is crazy because in life I don't know. It's interesting that I like stuff like that, but I do. Anyway, so that's my craft stuff. And then, yeah, I've been growing my seedlings and watching my plants grow and just kind of waiting for it to be warm enough, which this week it actually is, for me to put stuff outside. But I'm not quite ready to put my seedlings out yet. But I know you're like, what does this have to do with your healing? But it really does have to. So I'll tell you what this has to do with my healing is keeping my focus on things that are positive, things that I look forward to, things that bring me joy, things that light me up. I feel like all of that is so important, A, to the healing journey, and B, to just keeping our spirits up right now. It's so important to just focus on those things that light you up and that make you happy and that bring you joy. And I will say that sometimes I go into that focus as almost there's like an escapism component to it as well, because it's hard to stay checked into your body when you're an empath and you're aware of all the stuff that's going on out there, even if you're not paying attention to it. It's just like, it's kind of just always ever present. You can just feel it all the time in the environment. So there's sort of a balance that I'm trying to achieve and that I don't know that I'm always achieving, because trying to stay in my body and be with what's going on and just let it, and just sort of keep my shields up about it and like not let it, not be the filter for it or anything, not let it come into my being, but just let it be what it is and somehow separate it from myself. So just recognizing like what's mine and what's not mine, and staying connected to the light, like the light that I am, the light that we all are, like staying connected to that and to my source and to my spirituality, and drawing strength through that. It's just all work that I'm doing right now. I'm also doing a course with Amy Jones and Eileen Crispell that is about to be over the day that I post this video. It's our last class, and that has been helping a lot, helping me just be in the inquiry and be curious about the things that I'm noticing and be more attentive to noticing certain things with my body, my faith, my trust, my spirit, my mind, my soul. So I'm really enjoying that. But I noticed that when I'm trying to do meditations and stuff like that, I still am having trouble being still and focusing in and sticking with it. Like I'm trying to do journeying, shamanic journeying, which is, I mean, you could call it a type of meditation. It's kind of in a similar vein. It's kind of a guided, specific kind of meditation where you're looking for specific answers to things, but I cannot seem to get it together to like make that happen or let that happen or whatever. because I'm busy sort of doing the crafty stuff instead. And I that's just something I'm noticing too, I guess. I'm just noticing, like, okay, why am I not letting myself do this? Why is this not kind of coming to me or being allowed to happen or whatever? And just noticing. I don't have answers per se. It's just that I notice that there are times when I'm kind of using certain things to sort of check out. Like, here's an example. The whole of the day before yesterday and part of yesterday, I binge watched some show from New Zealand that's like I don't know, it's a few years old. Whatever, it's whatever. Sometimes I really love these like Australian and New Zealand. They're like comedy dramas. It's kind of like a comedy soap opera or something, except for with more realistic scenarios and situations that happen, not like soap opera unrealistic where it's like, oh, he was his own twin brother and his own grandfather and he died and then came back to life and all this. It's not like that, but it's, anyway. I binge watched this show. I'm still watching it actually, because while I was just taking apart this quilt, you know, taking apart the fluff out of the quilt, it's such a tedious activity, you know. So it's just like I'm just listening to the show, or kind of partly watching, partly listening, because, you know, partly just paying attention to what I'm doing. But it's kind of like a checkout where I'm just like, okay, I'm just gonna zone out and just do this. And I kind of compulsively, like, I would try to put down the quilt stuff and be like, okay, I need to put that down. My hands were starting to hurt from the scissors I was using and stuff like that, and the seam ripper. And I couldn't stop. Like, I'd put it down for like 10 minutes and then I'd be like, I gotta pick it up again, and I'd do it again. Anyway. Food. I always talk about my food and what I've been eating, but that's been basically the same. I've been trying to get cucumber juice in every day in some form. And because we have asparagus in abundance right now, like really good springtime spindly asparagus, I've been juicing asparagus almost every day, trying to do it every day, but some days I forget. So my morning is always my lemon water, 32 ounces, my honey lemon water. And then I'll have a half hour later my 32 ounces of celery juice. Half hour after that, my heavy metal detox smoothie. And when I say a half hour, it's like give or take, but it's at least a half hour. And then I will, sometimes right after that, I will have the juice of my asparagus, cucumber, apple. Often I try to get it in earlier rather than later, just so that I will absolutely get it in. And then I'll have sometimes I'll have steamed asparagus in addition, because I love asparagus. I will just get as much into me as I can when it's available for inexpensive, because you can't always get it around here. So sometimes I'll have steamed asparagus, sometimes I'll have like potatoes. Sometimes I'll roast other vegetables. I have a freezer full of okra that I'm trying to eat, so I will often roast some okra or steam some okra and mix it up with stuff. Then I'll have like a green smoothie later. Right now we have like really good mangoes, so I've been eating bowls of mangoes. Yeah, so that's what I'll eat in a day. That's basically my food for a day. Oh, and I'll have like another 32-ounce jar of lemon water. So my juice will usually be around 32 ounces, between 24 and 32 ounces, my juice. And then I'll have 32 ounces of lemon water before I go to bed. Or sometimes I'll drink it all and then I'll make another one. I always take 32 ounces of honey lemon water to bed with me, because if I wake up in the night, sometimes my mouth goes open when I sleep. So if I wake up in the night, I need to I'll take like 3 drinks of it. I'll take just a few drinks. I'll wake up in the night, I'll go to the bathroom, and then I will rinse my mouth out, and then I'll come back in and I'll take some drinks and then go back to sleep. And that's kind of my nighttime, if I wake up in the night, routine. I don't always, lately, now see, here's how I know the strep in my body is going down. Yay! Or I think it's going down. I pray it's going down, because I did just a month ago have the surgery where they did put antibiotics in an IV into my body. So that happened, and if you are going to have antibiotics, I believe that IV is the better way to go because it doesn't then have all the added stuff that oral has. And I tried really hard to work with the prescribing doctor and the pharmacy in the hospital, tried really hard to find stuff that also didn't have additives. It tasted horrible, and it was a liquid. It was awful. Ugh, so bad. But it didn't have any added fake sugar. It didn't have any. I hope it didn't have added petrochemicals. I don't know for sure, but it definitely didn't have any artificial. Oh my god, it definitely didn't have anything to make it taste good. It was so super gross, and I had to drink it, and I was like, oh my god, this is awful. So bad, so bad. It was so bad. But I did it. Whew. Sometimes, listen, I will always be the one to go the natural route as much as is humanly possible. And medical medium even says that there are sometimes when it can be life-saving medicine. This stuff isn't all bad. Western medicine, it's not all bad. Sometimes there are technologies like surgeries and things like that that can be life-saving, and in my case I believe that was absolutely true. The emergency gallbladder surgery, I think it was necessary, and I took the antibiotics in that case knowing that I know the risks and I know what antibiotics do in the body, so I weighed that, and just for that situation it felt like the antibiotics were safe and okay to take because their benefit in this case would outweigh the risk. I don't think that's always the case, but in this case I think it was. And I think it's important to be able to distinguish that, because I did have to think about it. Like I was like, do I want to do this, and am I willing to do this? But my gallbladder needed to come out. It really did. And I did consult with somebody that I very much trusted, who knows the medical medium information incredibly well, and that was incredibly helpful as well. But ultimately it comes down to, you have to listen to yourself. You have to listen to your intuition. What is your intuition saying? And in this case, honestly, it takes a lot for me to be willing to do something like that. And I was there. I was at that place where I was like, okay, I think I need this. And he has said that, medical medium has said that this is where it shines, is in like surgeries and the life-saving emergency interventions. It's just with chronic illness that it lacks, So anyway, so the strep, to go back to what I was saying, is I feel that the strep in my body, at least for now, seems to have gone down, because I used to have to get up more frequently in the night, like several times a night, to pee. There have been times where, my strep has been in more of a flare where I've had to get up several times a night to pee. And now sometimes, not always, I usually at least have to get up once, but sometimes I actually make it through the whole entire night without having to get up to pee. And I'm always like, what? How did that happen? And because I drink a lot throughout the day. I do. And I definitely eliminate a lot during the days as well. But I am delighted that at night sometimes I can go a whole entire night. That's pretty cool. And then my skin has been clearer, as you may have noticed if you watch my videos. So that's amazing, because that, acne is strep. And during my period, I had like tiny little pimples, and just a couple of them on each side. And that was it. Not on my period now. So I've been waking up with skin like this every day since my surgery and since I stopped using the CPAP machine. And a little bit, I'm not entirely sure why, because I'm like, it just went so fast. It went so fast. It disappeared so quickly. And it just went all. It just all went. And I have rosy cheeks. I've always had rosy cheeks my whole entire life. So part of me is like, I'm not sure. sometimes I'm not sure how much is, anyway. So I still have rosy cheeks, but it's not rosacea I'm not seeing, and I'm not seeing eczema, and I'm not seeing acne. So fingers crossed that it stays. Like, I don't know, you know, I could still have flares and stuff like that, but for now it's looking really good, and I'm just stunned and amazed. And every time I wake up in the morning and I go in the bathroom and I see myself in the mirror, I'm like, oh, it's so clear. And I'm like, it's still there. It's still like that. Oh, it makes me really happy. I'm trying to think if there's anything else, like symptom-wise, or, oh, well, yeah. Yes. There's a symptom. Okay. Yes, there is a symptom that I do have, and I'm looking at my feet. Here's the thing about the middle of the United States is it's humid. And when the warmer gets weather, when the weather gets warmer, the humidity goes up. So all winter, no humidity, basically. And then here comes spring, up goes the humidity. And when the humidity goes up, my edema goes up. I don't love that. I don't love that. That is a symptom that my body is still working on. My lymphatic system still is working on flushing. And my liver is still working on livering. I'm kidding. Filtering out the toxins and stuff like that. So, I mean, you can see that there's still swelling in my body. I still have inflammation in my body. And it's not usually, like, it doesn't affect me that much. I still am losing weight. I don't know how much weight I've lost because I don't have a scale. So much of our stuff is still in storage in Wisconsin, and I don't have a scale. I don't have access to a scale. I don't have a scale. It's in storage. So I don't know the number of how much weight I've lost. I know I am losing weight. My clothes keep getting looser. I own one pair of jeans. They cannot stay up on my body. When I go out for a walk with my family and I'm wearing my one pair of jeans that I own, I can't keep my pants up. It's very frustrating. Only because it's frustrating because here's the thing. I'm chemically sensitive. So I can't just go to a clothing store and buy clothes. Why? Because they all are loaded with perfume. Like, those clothing stores, they pump stuff into the air. It's terrible. So I can't go into a clothing store because perfume and pesticides, stuff like that, those immediate migraine. Like, I can go into a store and within a couple minutes, I'm like, I gotta get out of here. I can feel, it's not just migraine, it's brain fog, it's nausea, it's dizziness, it's like so many things. It's horrible. So I can't just go into clothing stores where I would normally have bought clothes previously, and I don't know where to order clothing from online because I don't know what size I am. I don't know what size pants to order, and I don't know what would have a good fit. So I'm really like, what do I do? How do I get pants? This is a real dilemma for me. Like, how do I get pants? I don't know how to get a size of pants that fits. And I'm sure there's probably some simpler explanation that I'm making it in my head. But right now, I don't know where to get pants because I don't know what size I am and what's a good fit for me and all this stuff. So I'm not quite sure what to do about that. When I'm home, it's fine because I just wear leggings or yoga pants. Like, who cares? Nobody can see me. But when I go out for a walk, I do wear my one pair of jeans, but they are just not gonna cut it for very much longer. So I don't know. I'm gonna have to figure that out. I'll figure it out. There's probably some like that's the other thing is I'm plus size, so it's gotta be plus size clothing, but there's probably some I'm sure this exists. There's probably some online plus size clothing situation where I could actually just try stuff. I know Amazon has Prime Wardrobe, but they're like Amazon choices for Prime Wardrobe. Like, they kind of suck. So that doesn't bode well. We tried them for my son's stuff because he's easy. Like, we know his sizes and stuff. So it's easy when you know someone's sizes. Like, my husband is a large. That's easy. Men's sizes are easy. Their sizes go by like, this is how many inches go around your waist, and this is how long your inseam is, and that's the size of your pants. Women's are like, this clothing company, you're this size, and this one, you're this size, and there's no consistency at all between any of them. And so you might know your size at one store, but that's not going to be your size necessarily at another one. And it's like that for women of all sizes. It's not just plus sizes. It's all women's sizes are crazy. And then they keep changing them. In my lifetime, they have changed the sizes. So what used to be a 12 is now a 6 or something like that. I don't know. I don't know if the numbers have gone up or down. I think they've gone down. It's weird. I don't know. I don't remember, but it's very confusing and stupid. Oh, anyway. Yeah, I need some jeans. I don't know how to get them. It's hard when you have to shop for clothing online, but shopping for clothing online is like a horrible... My husband has banned me from buying shoes online because he's like, it's never worked out. It's always a disaster. I'm like, no, there were 2 times it worked out. It just took buying like 6 or 7 different pairs to get those ones that worked out. But I mean, I sent them all back. It's not like... It just took a while. Because it's, you know, I can't go into places and try on shoes. Or I couldn't go into places and try on shoes when I was much, much more sensitive. Now I can walk into a shoe store for a brief period of time. I still can't walk into a clothing store because of the perfumes. I just can't cope. I can't cope with it. It's too much for my nervous system. Anyway, that is way more than too much about that. Okay, I think I've told you the update on my healing for now, and that's enough. As always, I would love to hear how you are doing in your healing journey. If you have questions for me or stuff you'd like me to make videos about, please tell me. If you like this video, please give a thumbs up below. You can subscribe to my channel by hitting the red subscribe button down there, or you can hit the bell next to it if you want to be notified when I post new videos. I wish you so many blessings on your continued healing journey, my healers and health seekers. I love you. Stay curious, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.